Yep, wipe that crust out of your eyes. You are not in a dream. The weekly rebound, we are back, and we are better than ever. It is week 7 coming up for the Legacy Leagues. And, we thought playoffs are, on the horizon. We'd bring in the 2 big dogs to kind of, welcome you for your first timers, welcome you to the Legacy Leagues playoffs, which, we only got 2 weeks left, so it's right around the corner. And these games, especially in week 6, we had some big games for the playoff standings, and we got some big games to preview coming up. But first, we got Connor back. Connor, how are we feeling on this Sunday morning?
Dude, February 1st, it's Malcolm Butler Day. We got a rematch, Patriots, Seahawks, coming up in a week. Fortunately for Pats fans, that game's not going to go the same way. But I'm glad, man. We're back, Greg. It's the duo, dude. This is how we do it. It's like Pratt and Reggie Stewart in the post-game interviews. Except we're not here every week. They're there every week. But that aura it's undeniable. It's me and Greg Horne Sunday morning. I'm vibing, brother. Let's go.
Yeah, get your coffee, whatever, your pre-workout, whatever people are doing. Start your day off with us. And that's a good transition. Usually I go in order, but why don't we talk about Pratt and Reggie, because they usually are there every week. And if I had to say, this is probably the best game of the week. If you could call it the best game of the week, Run TMC did take down the Street Ballers 115-102. Run TMC continues to dominate this league, and I'm running out of things to say about Run TMC. I'm just going to kick it to Connor. Connor, what did you see in this one between Street and TMC? I mean, is there something that stood out that Street did, or is this just TMC domination, Joe Carter show?
It was the Joe Carter show, 41 points, and Pratt had a nice game too. Obviously we've seen in recent years Pratt has kind of honed back on the scoring a little bit. He stopped playing on some stacked teams. We know that Pratt's an MVP in this league, so it's always good. Last year, I remember we saw him in a game. I think it was against Street Ballers, Greg. Remember when I told him, we need MV Pratt this game. TMC was down in the dumps, and Pratt went crazy. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that was against the Street Ballers in that game that went to overtime. The Street Ballers have always played tough with TMC. Honestly, the Street Ballers play tough with everybody. They're not a walkover team. They had Melquan Horton, who's a former Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star player, and he really fits in with the way that the Street Ballers play, which is tough and gritty. The Street Ballers probably play a little bit more isolation than Melquan likes. Obviously, Melquan came from Team Moose, which was all ball movement. Nobody really held the ball for longer than 3 to 4 seconds in a possession on that team. So this team's a little bit more isolation, hence the Street Ballers name. They play more of that Street Ballers style, where I think Melquan more flourish in a half-court set offense like he did in Team Moose, but I think his personality fits really well with this team, and you can tell, they hung tough with TMC, and TMC definitely looked like the powerhouse that they are. They scored a ton of points. They scored 115 points, which is obviously a really big chunk for any team in this league. Never mind an upper echelon power like TMC. But Street Ballers, man, I do definitely have to tip them, because they definitely played well. They hung tough. I remember in the post-game interview, Pratt said that when it got down to about 8 points, TMC guys start to look at each other on the bench and say, let's go, because we can't play with our food. These guys are definitely capable of stealing this game from us if we let them. So honestly, it was probably one of our more competitive games of the night. It was a good place to start in terms of our recap, and both teams showed out well, but TMC stays undefeated, so shout out to them.
Yeah, no, and I think, before the season, you think maybe Kyle Davis MVP, Reggie Stewart MVP, Mike Davis maybe Jaquan Bromell. I think Joe Carter has MVP locked, book it away, and send it away. I know he could be Rookie of the Year. I know he could be Offensive Player of the Year, but I don't know about you, Connor. I don't know who else is even coming close. I guess KD would be that was my guy. Be probably the other pick. KD's having a good year, but he's shooting 28% from 3 this year. So I don't think you could give it to KD. I took a hard look before we did this postgame show at a lot of the MVP candidates, and usually we like to give the first year guys maybe Rookie, maybe Offensive Player of the Year. You'd be hard pressed to find a player that is more valuable and better than Joseph Carter. I don't know. I think he gives this Run TMC team something that they're one of the best teams we've ever seen in Legacy. They could compete with the Monstars and Shocker City and Chasers because they have Joe Carter. He is that big guy that changes the game. And Eric Langston didn't even come. So for Run TMC, I said it last week, I'm going to say it again. It would be nothing short of a monumental disappointment if they don't win the championship this year. They are the clear favorite, just like Flint was last year, just like the years of Yaga and Shocker City and when TMC won in the past. And They are the clear favorite. They should be winning the championship this year. There should be no hiccups or anything. Even with the flu, this team is so deep. I mean, for Run TMC, I think it's their championship to win. Speaking of, though, we got another team who has aspirations to finally get over the hump and win the championship. And the Get Money Boys, they were back. And let me tell you, man, they were firing on all cylinders in this game. They took down BTFO 92-64. And this was the Kyle Davis show. I want to give a big congratulations to Kyle Davis for hitting 1,000 points. He is just one of the best scorers we've seen in this league. He is going to be in a Legacy League's first team member. He's going to be an all-star guy. He's going to be maybe Offensive Player of the Year, maybe who knows? Kyle could be anything, and Kyle put on a show. Kyle Davis is phenomenal. Taishi McCray had one of his best games of the year, which I think is going to be huge for this Get Money team going forward. But again, I'm going to kick it over to you, Connor. Not much to say in this game. I mean, I'm going to kind of, shout out BTFO. Y'all are fighting. And, before I kick it to Connor, BTFO, next week you got more power. That's a chance for you to get your second win, BTFO. That's a big game. Take that seriously because I think they're starting to figure it out. Julian was saying, he thinks they're looking a little better. So head up, BTFO. Go into next week. But, Connor, I'm going to kick it to you. What do you think Get Money's got to do? Get Money's in a really weird position. If you look at the standings, Get Money is in fourth. They're 3-3. They're tied with the Street Ballers and NLMB. So they're in the thick of things, and they play NLMB, coming up. So, or they don't, excuse me. NLMB plays the Syndicate coming up, which is a huge game for the seeding, and then they play Street Ballers. So where is this Get Money team sitting at 3-3 in Week 6?
They're sitting in that 3 to 4 spot in my personal power rankings that I do in my own head every week. I'm shifting teams based on who's playing well, who's playing not. Obviously, we put out our own Legacy Leagues power rankings. Always check those out, which normally I 100% agree with. But week to week, I kind of compose my own list. Probably this week, I got them sitting at 4, right behind NLMB, and that 3 spot would be where I got them. It's tough, man. It's competitive at the top right now. I really like what Get Money does in terms of what they do on defense, right? They got no Chad McCoy, and I asked them about how they've been using different types of rotations to fill in for Chad's missing space the last few weeks. And they said, KD looked at me and goes, bro, we got the best defender in the league. He's looking at Ty Sheen right next to him. He's like, we don't got to worry about nothing. He can guard any player on the court, no matter how big, short, tall, whatever it is. He's got the tools. He's got the complete package that you need on defense. He moves his feet extremely fast. He can jump higher than pretty much anyone in this league. He's just a total all-around defender, perimeter and interior. And you really see guys like Ty Sheen having big-time games and games like this against BTFO where you can kind of just suffocate them in a full-court press and make them think that they have a layup. And the next thing you know, you're flying behind them and getting a big-time dunk off the backboard or blocking a dunk off the backboard. So, Ty Sheen had 18 points in this game, 7 of 8 shooting. Get Money shot 79% from the field. That is some NBA 2K rookie-level numbers right there. It's like you're just out here shooting, everything goes in. If Get Money wants to disrupt somebody in this league, they're going to have to piss somebody off. They're going to have to kind of be those agitators, those Dennis Rodmans out there, right, in a big-time game against the Syndicate or TMC or even NLMB, whatever it is. If they're going to play one of the top teams in the playoffs, which we know that they are, KD's going to have to go crazy. Ty Sheen and Tyron are going to have to be efficient with their scoring. But more importantly, they're going to have to get under the skin of their opponents and kind of grind it out and play that Get Money style basketball that has gotten them to multiple finals in this league, and hopefully this year they can get over the hump. That's what I'm thinking about when it comes to Get Money and their chances in this league. This season, I've picked them to win it all in previous seasons. I think they got a tough road ahead of them this year in terms of that, but it's definitely possible when you got a guy like KD on your team. Shout out to KD, 1,000 points, man. That's my dog, 1,000 points. Finals MVP, and I called it the day he walked in the gym that day that he was getting that award. I'll never forget that. Something about it. KD, when he walks in, he just carries himself a little differently sometimes. You just know he's about to go crazy, and I remember that day. So it's cool to see him in his first season that year to where he is now, one of the best scorers we've seen in this league. Shout out to him. And shout out to BTFO, man. Keep fighting. Like Greg said, you got a winnable matchup this next week. They came in hot week 1 with a big win. I was like, damn, bro, this BTFO team, these dogs might be – they might be for real, even though they were a free agent roster. But yeah, they definitely have hit some bumps in the road. This is what happens as a rookie team. You're gonna run into some experienced rosters. If you guys can hear my dog, I apologize about that. I'll get him to shut up in a second. But yeah, BTFO, definitely just keep your head down, like Greg said. Keep fighting, and you guys will get a dub. Next week's gonna be a big one for them.
Yeah, no, I remember a few post-game shows ago, my dog jumped on my lap in the middle of the show, and I was talking about Get Money, and I said how they're dogs, and that's how they got to play. They got to play like dogs out there. There's a team a long time ago, a little quick history lesson. I'm a history major. Everyone sit down. Western Connecticut State University educated. Shout out Dr. Wilcox and co. But look, history, there's history of legacy leagues. There was this team once upon a time called the Flint Tropics, and there was also a team once upon a time called Team Moose. And Flint, before they added Quan and, Fink and all these guys, they were like me and Connor, outside Bizzuto and a few of those boys would never do them dirty like that. But the rest of them, they were like me and Connor. They were scrappy ball players who just knew how to win in this league. They slowed the game down, and they used – if you looked at some of those old Team Moose, Flint Tropics box scores, the amount of vowels that they would use all 6 of them every single game. And for this Get Money team, I am telling you, a reason why Team Moose and Flint Tropics played Shocker City so well, Yaga so well in the past, Run TMC so well in the past, is because they slow the game down and they make it hard on you. When you play a team Get Money like Run TMC, Syndicate did this for a little bit, and they need to do this more. Make Joe Carter – look, if Joe Carter goes 10 of 14 from the free throw line and you lose, you can go to sleep living at that. If Joe Carter goes 2 of 4 from 3 and you lose, you can go to sleep living with that. But if you're just going to let teams like Syndicate and TMC just get easy buckets, it's going to be really hard. You need to shorten the game. You let your talent – like this Get Money team, me and Connor probably seem like, the old guys talking about our old era, talking about, man, Tyron McCray, Tyshun McCray. These guys were they have the talent to do it. I think for Get Money, they just got to put it together. And, they definitely can. Get Money has Run TMC next week, which will be a phenomenal game. And then Get Money gets more power. And I think that's, if they can play TMC close, they don't have to win. But if they can stick with TMC again, and then they beat more power in a blowout, they'll be trending in a really good direction going into the playoffs. But speaking of the playoffs, we got another team who's right there on Get Money's heels, and that's Alex Willis and the boys over at NLMB. And NLMB shorthanded. I mean, obviously Lux Gang as well is usually shorthanded, but they did have a few more guys this week. And NLMB took down Lux Gang, and it was the Christian Dessou show. I'm going to kick it over to Connor because Connor's C's biggest fan. Connor, NLMB and C, what do they do in this one?
Bag alert, man. Bag alert. Gucci bag alert, man. Christian Dessou with 39 in this game. This dude could not miss. It was insane. He was doing the classic Mike Davis, Greg. Open court, fast breaks, stopping at the three-point line and just jacking it up, and it was just swish every single time. He could have taken the easy 2, but a 3-point shot for Christian is a layup in this league. You cannot give him that. In transition, that is an easy 3 every single time. He had a spin move, Greg. He came down, he was just doing the tween, and you just knew, oh, God, there's about to be some food out here on this court, and someone's about to get barbecue chicken, and it was, dude. He went tween, hezzy, step back, puts someone on skates, drives to the lane, gets the help defense to come, does a little pump fake, gets the big man to fly up through the air, spin move, float shot, didn't even hit any iron, bro. Went straight up in the air, straight down like a drop of rain. It was one of the most beautiful buckets I've seen from start to finish, and in that possession, it just felt so calculated, like he knew exactly what he was going to do. I'm not trying to get too much into just one bucket, but my God, if we can pull up that clip, if somebody has it and can put it over this right now, man, that would be clutch on our editors, because this was one of the most pretty buckets I've seen in Legacy Leagues this season. He's a magician out there, Greg. And I call him and Dante the Tiny Terrors, man. Those two dudes, it doesn't matter how big they are, they will go out there and give you 30-plus any given night. And he didn't have his partner in crime. Dante was not there at this game, so it was all Christian. They didn't have Rocco, their big man. So he knew, listen, it's on me tonight. This Lux Gang is another team that you cannot overlook. I kind of put them in the same vein as the Street Ballers where, hey, are they at the top of the power rankings? No. But they are teams that you cannot go into the gym on Thursday nights and say, oh, we got a free win, we're playing Lux Gang. That is not the case. They got some real hoopers on that team. Hakeem has been playing so good for them. Trayvon Jones, we already know he can put up 40 any given night. He averaged damn near 40 last year. If he didn't average a full 40, it was right there in that range. He's an absolute baller. And then we got our boy Rico. This Lux Gang has got real hoopers on this team. They cannot be overlooked. They play hard. And we definitely like what Lux Gang is all about in terms of, bringing it every single week. this was a really good game, Greg. It was. I watched this entire one from start to finish. It was only decided by 7 points, but it was closely contested from start to finish. And it was really just Christian just taking it to a different level in this game, and Luxgang could not get the answers for him.
Yeah, no, I just want to shout out Hakeem and Christian because it's almost award season, and Christian Dessou has taken the second most threes in this league, and he is shooting 53% from the 3-point line. Let me read you comparable. Dante Hodge has taken 55 threes. He's 34%. Reggie Stewart has taken 41 threes. He's at 41%. I mean, these are incredible shooters. Hakeem Shuhart, 3-point contest. Interns, listen to me right now. Hakeem Trueheart, Christian Dessou, Reggie Stewart, Jason Hernandez, Devon Pratt, Ojito Acosta. Every single one of them should be in the 3-point contest. There you go. That's your 3-point contest, interns. They all have taken over 43s and are hitting at almost a 50% clip. There's just some shooters in this league that when they get hot, they're just incredible, and that's Christian Dessou. He is having one of the best 3-point shooting years I've ever seen in this league, and that's what he does, man. As far as Luxgang, I agree with Connor, man. Luxgang, y'all are fine. You just keep doing your thing. They need more depth. They just need more bodies. But, I mean, look, next week, Luxgang, you got Street Ballers. That should be a good one. And then you got the Syndicate to close it out. Keep fighting. There's grass is always greener. There's a lot of improvements y'all can do, but we see it. Hakeem Trueheart, I think, should be most improved player of the year. He's someone who I've been thinking about for that award.
Hooping.
So for Luxgang, keep pushing, man. Keep pushing, guys. But NLMB, get full strength, and then we'll see you next week for Syndicate. It's going to be a battle. But for the last one on this list, speaking of the Syndicate, they took care of business here. This was a pretty run-of-the-mill game here. Syndicate took down more power, 87-64, and I think the Syndicate just had a little more power in this one because Jason Hernandez put on a show. Mikey Fuller, Eric Moore, and the boys. Mike Davis barely did anything. Sexy Lex and the boys did their thing. As far as more power goes, keep doing your thing, more power. I see the improvements. Nothing wrong with the Syndicate loss here. They just kind of took it to them in the second half, but they were playing them very, very close in the first half. So more power. This is nothing to snuff your nose at. I mean, this was a great game. You fought. I said it for BTFO. More power. You guys got BTFO next week. That is a game where you should come in ready to play and battle it out and get another dub because, hey, look, if you look back on this season and say we played some teams close, we won 2 games, that's not that bad of a year. That's more wins than I got in some of these seasons. But, Connor, I'm going to kick it to you. Syndicate and more power. I mean, you can touch on more power if you want. But, again, I'm going to ask you the same thing for Get Money. What does the Syndicate team have to do to kind of close the gap between Run TMC and them?
Greg, this is where me and you might actually disagree. Obviously, I heard you say at the beginning of the podcast that Run TMC is clear, wide favorites, nothing but an absolute, utter disappointment if they don't win it all. You're making it seem like this is Run TMC's show and there's no one else even there, and I just don't agree, man. I think this Syndicate team, if they're not just as good, Greg, they are just slightly, barely, marginally on the second place pedestal to Run TMC right now, man, because it is, in my mind, it is a razor sharp margin. I think if the Syndicate just do what they did in that first game, put the ball in Reggie Stewart's hands, needing a miracle shot, and maybe for Reggie it's not a miracle because he's just such a good shooter, but I mean for that's damn near a shot in this league that 99% of the guys are not hitting that shot. If I'm the Syndicate, bro, I would take that exact same situation in the finals and say, do it again, Reggie. Make them beat me on a 3-point shot with the time expiring, 8 feet behind the line, with a guy in his face, off of a tip ball. Dude, Syndicate did everything they needed to do to beat TMC in that game. I don't think that gap is big at all. I think if the Syndicate played just the same way they did in this specific game here, obviously, Mike Davis does not really care too much when he's not playing some of the best teams in the league. You can see he only shot the ball 3 times, and he probably dipped out and was on the bench chilling most of the game. But in those big-time games, Mike Davis is going to be obviously, going all out, playing way more minutes and taking way more shots. Shout out to Sexy Lex in this game. Sexy Lex told me he had 7 blocks. He actually did have 7 blocks. I was like, bro, there's no way that you actually got 7 blocks in the stat sheet. He's like, I know. He's like, but I'm going to go back and watch and make sure. He doesn't need to. We actually got him on the stats for 7 blocks. So shout out to Sexy Lex. Shout out to our stat interns doing a great job. But yeah, man, Jason Hernandez hooped. Mikey Fuller hooped. Shout out to Eric Moore. It was his birthday. The Syndicate's a great team, man. I honestly, Greg, think that they are right there. I don't even see as a 1 and a 2. To me, it's 1A, 1B with TMC and Syndicate right now. Both stacked teams. Both have perennial Hall of Famers in the legacy leagues in terms of all-time guys. Reggie Stewart, Mike Davis, Pratt. The list goes on. Even really good players on the Syndicate team like E.J. Linton that you can't overlook. Jaquan Bromell wasn't even there. He's one of the most athletic guys in this league. And Jason Hernandez is just, he's a steadying force out there. He's a true captain. He'll, motivate these guys in timeouts. He kind of organizes half-court sets, and they just got a lot of players on this team. Even Mikey Fuller and Eric Moore, man, those guys were, on a team that didn't have as much talent last year. You saw them be able to put up damn near 20 a game whenever they wanted to. So they're kind of taking a back seat to let these big dogs eat now on this roster, and I'm pretty sure they're glad to be doing it with the amount of wins that they're stacking up after finding how tough it was to get wins last year. So I really like what Lex did with this roster. He's got to get the Red Dragon back, though. Red Dragon's going to be key in the playoffs, dude. That's a key bench piece for them. He comes in on those rotations, plays good defense, little spark plug, three-point shooter. I really like the Syndicate team, and just want to give a quick shout out to More Power. Nate Otero was absolutely hooping in this game.
All-star. He's their all-star.
He's great, man. He really is great. And Cody told me when they came in week 1 or 2, he was like, "Yo, keep an eye on 10, bro. 10's a real baller out here." And he talks shit too, Greg. He comes in, he don't care what the score is. He gets a bucket on you. He's down 10 on the scoreboard. He's still in your face talking shit. As a fan, I love that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe if the other team is like, or maybe his teammates are like, "Yo, dude, we're losing. Don't get them pissed off." But as a fan, I'm like, "Yo, let this boy talk shit." This guy's out here. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's not afraid of anybody. And shout out Cody, man. We don't talk about Cody enough anymore, Greg. He said the other day, I think he was like, "Dude, I used to average like 20 in this league." He was telling me when he was on the bench in one of these games, and I was like, "Bro, I have not forget, dude." Shout out to Cody. Suffered one of the most devastating injuries in Legacy League's history. Probably one of the worst injuries I've ever seen in my entire life in person. I was worried about if he would be able to use his arm to ever in like a normal capacity, never mind coming back and playing in legacy leagues. He comes back, he still plays the exact same way, Greg. He still goes for every single rebound, he still goes for every single dunk on a big man that's sitting down there. He's still the first one to jump at someone that's coming down to dunk on him. He does not shy away from contact. He plays the same exact way as he did prior to his injury, if not even harder. That's why we call him Captain America, man. He's indestructible. I'm glad to see him still in the legacy leagues hooping out here on Thursday nights. I like the More Power team. I like what they bring to the table. Obviously, and there's a talent discrepancy with some of these better teams in the league, but they got a good week. Like we said, Greg, this is kind of like a little mini game of the week next week. Them versus BTFO. I think it's going to be a competitive, really fun game to watch. I'm actually a little bit excited for that one. So, shout out to More Power and the Syndicate, man. Don't listen to Greg Horne. I got you guys right up there, right on TMC. I do not think the gap is that big. So you guys make sure you guys come after Greg on Thursday. Leave me out of it. I got your back, boys.
Yeah, no, and I just want to give a quick shout-out to Nate Otero. Nate Otero, I believe, I'm going to check next week. I think he comes off the bench. I'm pretty sure More Power starts with Jake McKenzie, Griffin Andrews, Dennis Jennings, and Cody, and sometimes John Gold. I don't think people realize that Nate Otero is averaging 17 a game on 51% shooting and about 5 boards. That's very good, especially on a team that, not a bad team, but a team that's only won one game. That's not easy to do, to be efficient, especially when you're losing a lot of games. So I just want to show More Power some love. I think he should be their clear all-star. And, yeah, for the Syndicate, I mean, you got Mike Davis. What else is there to say? But that's a good segue. We'll get into our predictions part of this show. We'll just do end the show with little predictions because we got some big games coming up next week, and we'll just kind of run through these quick. Connor, first game of the week, we got Street Ballers and Lux Gang. Who you got?
Street Ballers, Lux Gang. Man, that's a good one. You got the green teams going at it. Yeah. I think I'd go with Street Ballers, actually, in this game. It's a close one. It's really close. That's highly competitive. I just kind of really like the way Street Ballers hung tough with Run TMC, scored over 100 points against one of the most premier teams in this league, Lux Gang. I don't want to say they fell flat, but, Hakeem Trueheart's been showing up in the second quarter in the last few games. And if you see how Hakeem Trueheart's been playing for them, you need him there for 4 quarters, So I'm a little interested to see when he's able to get there. Obviously, life, traffic, traveling, getting back and forth from work, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's tough for these guys to get to the games perfectly on time at the start of the game. But that's kind of a little mini storyline for the Lux gang right now is getting their guys all there on time to start the game, because it definitely affects their ability to win or lose these games. But I do like the Street Ballers, the way they've been playing. I love the addition of Melquan Horton, who we hadn't seen in this league in several years. I think he's he's going to have to try to find his rhythm within this offense. It's tough coming in, Greg. Shout out to Greg Horne, by the way, who kind of pulled Melquan into this league. Street Ballers lost some guys. Greg said, hey, I got a guy who's looking for a team that you guys are going to love. But it is really hard, for a new player to come into a system with guys that he's not really familiar with. He doesn't know their game, and he's trying to figure it out on the fly. He hasn't played in legacy leagues in a few years. So it's tough, but I do think, his addition nonetheless, his motor on defense, all that stuff is going to, help Street Ballers get a win in this one. That would be my guess. I think it'd be a slight margin of victory, maybe like 5-6 points.
Yeah, no, I got Lux King in this one. I got a Hakeem Trueheart masterclass. And you ready for this? Hakeem Trueheart has never missed a free throw in this league. He's played 2 seasons, and he is 14 of 14 from the line. That's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. I know it's only 14 shots, but look, making a free throw is something that Kyle Davis does really well, Reggie Stewart, Mike Davis, guys like that, extremely good free throw shooters. For a new guy to come in and master that, I'm telling you, the best mid-range shot in this league. You got Kyle Davis, you got Mike Davis,
clean.
and Reggie. You got Hakeem Trueheart. I'm telling you, this Hakeem Trueheart guy. Connor said it. I'm seconding it. Hakeem Trueheart is a problem. He is one of the most underrated players in this league because he doesn't get talked about like Rico and Trayvon Jones. But I got a Hakeem masterclass in this one.
Greg, real quick before you go on, I talked to Hakeem after a game a few weeks ago, and I was just laughing. I was like, bro, you got that like Jamal Crawford game. You know what I'm saying? That like – Not the blow by speed, just like the shiftiness and the ball handling and the side to side, and he's got like the Christian Dessou package with the ball handling, except he just doesn't have the speed, but he doesn't really need it because he just creates enough space to get that mid range shot off. So I was laughing with him about that, and he was telling me actually we don't really know the backstory on some of these players. I guess he used to train with John Wall. And he's got one of his kids is at a big time school, or he's getting big time offers from big time D1 schools, like top programs. So this dude is, he's a student of the game, and now he's teaching it to these young bulls. He learned it from some of the best guys, even players who went to the NBA. So you see that in his game, man. He's not out there just beating guys with sheer athleticism. He's in the later half of his athletic career, you can call it. And he's just using basketball knowledge on boys out there, right? Using the little things to get that open shot. That he's like I say, he's a student of the game. He's got everything you would want in a mid-range shooter, and we don't see the mid-range shot enough. The death of the mid-range has become a real thing in the basketball world over the last 10 years or so. So it's fun seeing a guy like Hakeem come into the league, old school, old head, just giving buckets to these boys on Thursday nights.
Yeah, no, love Hakeem, underrated. And speaking of underrated, we got some underrated players in this one, and that's more power BTFO. This is the toilet bowl. These are the two teams. Welcome to the toilet bowl. I've been in the toilet bowl many a times. Shout out when we got our only win. Shout out to Kakambas. Thanks for giving us that win. Shout out my boy Jack Champagne. Hit the game-winning 3 with like 8 seconds left. So hey. I'm sorry, BTFO. I love your game. Love Jameson Brothers. I think more power is going to cook in this game. I think more power is trending in the right direction, and I think that these past few weeks, look at Mo Power. They played Syndicate, Lux Gang, and they played BTFO and beat them already. So more power is 1-0 against BTFO. Then more power had NLMB, and then they had to play TMC, and then these guys are getting they're getting some rough games going. They got Get Money next week. I think they are hungry. They're licking their lips. I think more power is going to come in and just ball out in this game. And I just don't think BTFO has the chemistry where more power seems like they're getting some chemistry and they got the experience. So I got more power in this one. What about you, Connor?
I'm with you, brother. More power, definitely going to get the win in this game. After I saw them competing so hard against the Syndicate, Tero's talking shit to Mike Davis. I'm like, damn, bro, these guys are dogs, man. I haven't gotten a lot of chances to watch them up close and personal in all of their games this season, but I got a full glimpse of what they were doing last week. They got a tough matchup in the syndicate, but they did not shy away. I think in a game like this against BTFO, you're going to see them have that confidence, and you're going to get a nice win here if you're more power and you show up with your guys and you go all out for 4 quarters. I don't see them winning this game by any less than 10 points. I think they handle this game with ease. With that being said, if you're BTFO, don't let me saying that dissuade you guys. Come into this game with a chip on your shoulder and go hard with these guys. I think that BTFO can compete in this game for sure. We've seen them week 1 when they put it all together. See if they can recapture that magic. But I got definitely more power to win this game. I'm a little bit high on more power actually. I think there might be a little. Don't overlook them if they got a low seed in the playoffs. It might be tough because I think a lot of teams week 1 in the playoffs definitely come in with that sense of urgency. They don't want to get upset, but I think more power is a sneaky team.
No, absolutely. If you look at the bracket right now, if more power can win this game, let's say they probably lose, their next game, they could sneak. Say, Bucks gang maybe loses to Street. I know I picked them, but let's say they lose to Street and more power somehow sneaks to that 6th spot. More power could be playing Street Ballers, NLNB, or Get Money. And I mean, look, for more power, I couldn't agree with you more. I think they're trending in the right direction. I'm proud of those boys. Then we got two. These are some good games. We got probably the top 4 teams in our league going off this week. They've all played before. So we got Run TMC versus Get Money. The last time Run TMC and Get Money played, Run TMC took it to Get Money 91-83. And it was just a really rough overtime for Get Money. This was obviously the game where, they had a shot the last second. Jacob Morales took the 3. It didn't go in. And then Run TMC smoked them in overtime. For Get Money, they're not going to have Chad McCoy at this game, and that's going to really, really hurt them against Joe Carter. I love the Get Money boys, but I'm sorry. I just don't see how Get Money's going to win this one. I got TMC. I just think the Joe Carter factor is too much, and I think only Syndicate can match Joe Carter because they got guys like Jaquan and EJ Linton down there and Alex. And, I just don't know if Get Money has the size to really match TMC in this one. So I'm going to go TMC. What do you got, Connor?
Yeah, I haven't been on the pod a whole lot in the season, so luckily for me that means Reggie Stewart hasn't had a lot of opportunities to talk shit about me not believing in him and doubting him. So I guess this is my chance. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm still taking Run TMC. I got Reggie Stewart and the boys in this one, man, and I've always backed Get Money in pretty much every situation I've ever had a chance to on these podcasts. I love those guys, man. This Run TMC team's just a different animal this year, dude. In previous years, they've had chinks in their armor that you can go after. I don't see any chinks in their armor right now. I think that they are a complete package, like you said, Greg, with Joe Carter, just kind of brings a different element. We haven't really seen a I might be mistaken, but I'm trying to think, Greg, like dominant big men in the Run TMC blue and gold over the years. Eric Langston's an absolute animal. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. He just doesn't play like a big man. He's always shooting threes out there on the perimeter, and he's not going to be the first one to sprint back on defense. But they got a guy in Joe Carter who's like playing the traditional big man style of basketball. He's protecting the rim, and he's an absolute menace. He's a freight train going to the rim. So I'm trying to think of times where Run TMC's kind of had the perimeter and interior threats going on at the same time. I can't really imagine one where it's working as well as it is right now for this team. So they're a different animal this season. I got them winning this game against Get Money, but man, Get Money is the team that you like. I keep bringing it up. Don't overlook these guys. Don't overlook those guys. But literally, Get Money is like, they're the face of that, man. They've been that for years in this league, where it's like, you might not pick them, but next thing you know, you're coming back to the drawing board on Friday, and you're like, damn, I did not think Get Money was going to be able to pull that out, and they did, right? So I still got TMC to win this game. It's going to be probably the game of the week, game of the night. KD's going to need to drop 40 in this game, but I got Reggie probably just outwilling these guys in a close win. So I'll take TMC in this game.
Yeah, no, and if you look in the past, Reggie Stewart, when he's been the most effective and won his rings, with the Monstars, he was one of their second or the third option, and he could just do his thing. And teams are focused on Greg Langston or Eric Langston or whoever, or even when we go back and Run TMC won their ring, this Run TMC team, Reggie is so effective when you have guys like Pratt and Joe and Dave just kind of taking that load, and it's just like, Reggie, go get your bucket, go be different, and go be special. And it's just, not this Run TMC team too. If you look at the team stats, they shoot free throws incredibly efficient. This team, even Joe Carter, is an incredibly. I mean, Run TMC has missed 16 free throws this year. That's it, 16. They're 70 of 80, or 60 of 76 from the free throw line. That's incredible. That it did. I mean, Dave Armstrong has missed 2 shots. 2 shots. Like this Run TMC team to me is just it's so deep, and it's just going to be. I don't know. I love to get money, boys, but it's going to be hard for me. Like I was saying, that Run TMC team when they won that finals, they had Reggie Stewart was their best player that season. He was incredible. But you had guys that year. Remember, Terrell Vargas came a few games. He had a huge game against. Was it Shocker City or I forget who it even was. I don't know. Get Money maybe. I think it was Get Money. He came for Get Money. Had a huge game. You know who else had a huge game in the finals? Eric Langston had a huge game. I just think that for Reggie, he's so supremely talented. He has Joe Carter on the side. Joe is with that. I would bet my 401k Joe Carter's dropping 20 in this game. I think this TMC's so deep, it just lightens the load on Reggie. It reminds me of the Monstar season. I'm not saying they're similar teams, but he can just go do his thing because he knows he has the guys behind him. He has Dave always crashing. He has Shaquan always crashing, always making the right pass. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned Miles Raymond, who had his best game of the year. So, I don't know. I mean, I hope, I love to get money, boys. I would love to see them get over the hump, but I just don't see it in this one. And speaking of getting over the hump,
real quick, I like how you mentioned Scave shooting like an insane percentage. You said he missed 2 shots all year. You know who he reminds me of? And I hate to do it because I'm a diehard Celtics fan. You got the you can see the logo right there behind me. Maybe you can't, but anyways, he reminds me of Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks, where it's like I think Mitchell Robinson had a season a few years ago where he shot 75% from the field and like damn near an entire season of basketball, which is just unheard of. But that's what you get when you got a big man who is just so dedicated to playing good defense. That's his role on the team, right? Just like Dave. And then, high percentage looks down low near the basket, and that's it, right? That's like such a specialized role. It's pretty much exactly what Mitchell Robinson does in the NBA, and it's why he's been really valuable for that Knicks rotation. But yeah, that's what Dave reminds me of. He plays just like Mitchell Robinson. I think we've been late on that comp for a long time, but it's when you said that, it just kind of popped in my head. I was like, dude, that's exactly literally what Mitchell Robinson does. He just plays defense and takes layups and dunks.
100%. Dave Armstrong in his prime reminded me of Dwight Howard. Dave Armstrong now is Mitchell Robinson. I mean, Dave Armstrong.
That's not that bad. No, go from Dwight to Mitchell Robinson. That's not bad.
I mean, Dave Armstrong is one of those guys that, like, you're going to look at the Run TMC team, let's say they win the championship, and you're not going to see Dave Armstrong in the top 6 on the box score, but his impact is top 3. He does so many important things out there. He wants to win more than anyone, and this obviously the weekly rebound, we love Scave. He deserves all the praise because he does so many of the little things. The way Joe Carter can focus on getting a bucket, he knows he's got Quan and Dave back there always boxing out, and that's just this TMC team. But speaking of top teams in the league, we got another matchup between 2 top teams in the league, and that's Syndicate and NLMB. Week 1 they did play, but I mean this was week 1. This was Mike Davis's first game in 4 years maybe or 3 years. We had NLMB without Rocco Swenson. NLMB also was without their Raheem King. I think Jamar Peterson also wasn't there. As far as the Syndicate goes, they kind of had a full game, but it was the Jaquan Bromell show. He went absolutely bananas against NLMB, and they took it 83-80. But this was a ball game. We're assuming both teams are healthy. I'm going to go to you, Connor, first. I said Lux Gang, Street Ballers is probably the best game, like talent-wise, like how close they are. But man, NLMB Syndicate, this might be game of the week, game of the night. Who you got in this one?
Could be. Yeah, I know. I kind of already threw that out there already, but I might have been a little bit too quick. This could be the game of the week. Greg, I'm going to be all over the friggin' place on this pod, man. I'm going to be all over the place. As good as Syndicate is, and I was just gassing them, saying they're just as good as TMC, bro, upset alert. Upset alert. End of the regular season. Syndicate maybe not going all the way here. I don't know. Mike Davis doesn't really seem to care too much unless he's playing Reggie Stewart at this point in his Legacy League's career, it seems like. NLMB at full strength, Okay, that includes Rocco, Dante, Christian, Willis, the whole bench complimentary players. I think NLMB wins this game, Greg. I don't think it's going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things. Yo, Sexy Lex, I know you're probably hating hearing this right now, and I'm sorry, brother. This is no impact on your full season outlook. This is just a one night. I think NLMB is going to come in here and give you guys every single thing they have. I think there's super ticked off that they lost that game to get money. Tarek McCall, Alec Willis going up against their old team members a few weeks ago. They were like, man, we really had that game penciled. He told me in the post game, he's like, man, we're going to get those boys back. I just think that NLMB has a chip on their shoulder right now. They're definitely, like I said, I got them at the number 3 seed in the league right now in my own power rankings personally. So, listen, if they're 3 and Syndicate's 2, me saying that they can beat the Syndicate shouldn't be that much of an outcry at this point in the season. I think, like I said, when you just put everything together, this team's got some real hoopers, bro. This is not disrespectful. You look at what Christian and what Dante can do, and if you get Rocco out there, the 3 of those guys alone are all-star caliber players. You know, it's a 4-on-4 league. So, what are you gonna tell me that NLMB's got three all-stars running around out there, and that they don't have a chance to win this game? Give me NLMB to upset the almighty powerful Syndicate in this specific matchup. Do I think they can beat them in a playoff game? We'll tune in for a later, podcast. Maybe I'll join the pod on that one. But in this game, give me an LMB, Greg. What do you think about that take?
Yeah, so I had to go back and look the last time Mike Davis lost a game and played after he lost, because it's been a while. So they beat Run TMC in the finals, an incredible finals game, 93-90 in Shocker City. And then the next year he didn't play, and Shocker went 5-4, which shows you how good Mike Davis was. And then, so he has not lost a game in a while in this league. And I think that's going to benefit Syndicate a lot, because I think he's motivated and really into this. I think this is going to be an incredibly close game. I think Rocco Swenson needs to go. They need Rocco in this game. Jaquan Bromell is going to take over, and I know he's pissed off, and I just think he's going to be too much for these NLMB boys. I think Christian and Dante got to be hot from the 3, but I mean, I'm with you. This is going to be a great game. I think this will come down to the end. I think Alex Rivera is going to be big. I think this is the role player game. I'm coining this. This is the RP game, and I think this is going to come down to the role players and how guys like Jason Hernandez are going to shoot. Can Jay Velez get you a few buckets? Can Eric Moore play well? Can EJ Linton get you a few big points? How's Tarek McCall going to play down low? Jesse Coachman, what can he give you on the defensive side? Maybe Alex Willis or Alex Rivera give you something. I think it's going to come down to those guys, and I got the Syndicate in this one, baby. I think the Syndicate's going to take it. I think the Syndicate's going to finish the season out with one loss, and I think it's going to set up a finals rematch between Run TMC and Syndicate. I think this game will be very similar to the first matchup, 83-80. I think it'll be about 71-70. I got Syndicate, but I think this will be a close game. NLMB looks incredible, so I don't want any hate on those boys. But I'll give one last question to Connor before we get out of here. Like I said, I think this sets up a Syndicate TMC finals, and I got TMC winning it all. I know I haven't picked TMC ever, and I'm officially picking Run TMC and the Reggie Stewart train. I've never been on the Run TMC bandwagon, so it's it's like dropping an American in Russia or something over here. But I'm feeling good. I took 2 semesters of Russian in college, so priyak kakil, and I think that I'm chilling over here. It's a little cold in Russia, but it's just Run TMC weather. I got Reggie over there riding a bear. I got Dave Armstrong drinking some vodka. So let's go Run TMC. I got Run TMC taking it all, and after Run TMC wins it all, I get to call Joey, and he gets to be like, "Hey boys." So Connor, how are you feeling in this one? I know Joey will be cheesing when he hears that. I'm on the TMC bandwagon. Connor, first you can talk to me about your teams, but how you feeling with this potential playoff bracket and the championship, and who you got?
I hate you for doing this, Greg. Normally you're the one who makes the spicy takes out here.
True.
And then everyone's screaming at you on Thursday nights, and I just get to sit back and watch. With that all being said, Reggie always comes at me too, because even for some reason, whenever you make terrible takes about Run TMC, it's somehow Reggie always just comes back to me. Yep. It funnels back to me somehow. So I was really hoping that you were gonna pick Syndicate. It's just kind of like on when the guys are making their picks on like Sunday mornings for the football games, and it's like every single panelist all picks one team, and then that team loses, and then it becomes a meme later on. You know, from what I've heard, every single intern, Greg, you said, has been picking Run TMC to win it all, right? And now
Yep, pretty much.
our fearless leader, Greg Horne, is now picking Run TMC as well. It seems like every single person in this league is picking Run TMC, which puts me in the spotlight as now the guy that can't be the one. Like, we can't have the entire panel on TMC. So now Reggie's going to be pissed. Pratt's going to be pissed. I've been doing their interviews every single week. So now I'm not even in the, like, can I opt out of doing the interviews with Run TMC now? Because this is,
We can make the interns do it.
I'm going to get absolutely cooked in those interviews if I'm the one holding the camera, asking them questions after picking them not to win it all. You can see where I'm going with this. Syndicate, you might be mad I just picked on LNB to beat you guys, but I'm picking you guys to win it all. So do not let me down, man. I got the Syndicate. I got the GOAT Mike Davis, which, by the way, that was hysterical a few weeks ago when they lost. And Pratt is in the post-game interview looking at Reggie saying, this is the real GOAT. Like, holy cow. How we have come full circle in this league, Greg, where Yaga Pratt is in a Run TMC uniform next to Reggie Stewart calling him the GOAT. And Mike Davis is walking out of InSports with his head down in total disgust after what he just witnessed on that last possession. Man, dude, life is an absolute trip. I love legacy leagues. This is the shit we live for. This is why we do this every Thursday, man. This is these are storylines that we couldn't have made these up, Greg, if this was a movie script. You know, I got the Syndicate, which is going to make the post game phone calls with the commish even that much funnier. Shout out to you, Joey. We love you. But yeah, I got the Syndicate winning this. We can't have every single panelist, every single intern, every single person who has got any stock in this league on one team. So put me in the crosshairs, baby. I'll take the Greg Horne role this year. You know, obviously Greg's got no Henny out there today. If he did, he'd probably be making different picks. But and he's got no Flint boys in the league right now, so he has no alliance that he has to stick with. I was doing really good. Everyone knows I had like a perfect record for so long in picking the finals. I probably haven't gotten one right in the last like 4 seasons. I'm ice cold. I need a hot take to get me back on my game. I'm going to have the Syndicate and Mike Davis. I feel like, man, are they the favorites? Maybe not. It might be slight underdogs, but maybe a few points in a finals rematch potentially with Mike versus Reggie. So, yeah, man, I'm going to ride with Mike Davis. I feel like that's never a bad ship to go down on.
Nope, definitely not. 6-time champion. If Connor's right, Mike Davis will move to a 7-time champion. And,
Tom Brady.
To point out there, other guys, Reggie Stewart, even if he won this year, it would only be his 4th championship. I'll take a look here. We got Run TMC. Pratt, I think it would be his 5th championship if they win. It would be his 5th.
Who did Chris pick? Has he made a pick on the pod?
No. I would be shocked if he takes Run TMC, but I mean, hey, we'll get him on. You never know. But
he's been low-key hating on Syndicate. I don't know what happened there. I feel like he's feeling like he lost all his players when he moved to this Syndicate roster, and it's like, hey, this is my team that you guys hijacked. So now he's like rooting against them. It feels like, I don't know. We gotta pick his brain.
I mean, it's hard to say because he's gotten 3 rings, and if TMC wins this ring, Joey will be at 2 rings. So I feel you. It's look. All I know is get money, NLMB, Street Ballers, BTFO, More Power, Lux Gang. No one believes in y'all. Take that, put that on the bulletin board, send this in your group chat. Me, Connor, none of the interns, Joey, the photographers, Julian Skit. Nah, I'm kidding. Shout out, Julian. No one believes in you. No one thinks y'all can do it. Hey, there's the motivation they need, right? Look, there's teams, NLMB get money, especially those 2 could win the league. So, that's the motivation they need. This was a phenomenal time, for everyone. I hope you all have a great New Year, good Valentine's Day, enjoy the Super Bowl, whatever's happening in life. Hope you all enjoy it. For me, Greg Horne, for Connor Sauer, this has been the Weekly Rebound, and that has been a Week 6 post-game show. Week 7's coming up. We got some bangers and then the playoffs, so stick around. But until then, good luck to everyone this weekend but Chris Rosinski, and that is a wrap.